What's going on, everybody? It's Big T with GreenWallSt.com, back with another trading video. Thank you guys so much for showing love on the videos here recently, and thank you for all the love at GreenWallSt.com as well. We've had a lot of signups over the last couple of weeks, a lot of people interested in trading and starting their journey, so that's good to see. We've had a lot of positive feedback so far. Brand new day trading course is now available, so check it out, link in the description. And today we're gonna be talking about what I think is one of the most important things that you have to understand if you're gonna start day trading in 2020. I'm gonna try to do my best to explain what float means, and especially what float rotation means in the stock market. So every stock in the market is different. Every stock is gonna have a different amount of shares that are available to be publicly traded within the market. Some big companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, they have hundreds of millions, billions of shares in their float. That means that there's a lot of supply in the market for that stock. There's a lot, it takes a lot of money to really move around those types of stocks. On the flip side, a lot of the stocks that day traders like to trade are very volatile, ones that will go up 100, 200, 300%. And the big reason why those stocks are able to make those sorts of moves is they'll have very small floats. They'll only have 3, 4, 5 million shares available to be traded freely in the market. Couple that with the fact that day trading is everybody's, hottest new hobby this year. And a lot of these stocks will trade 100 million, 200. The past week we saw 300 million shares traded on these really low float stocks that only have 5 million shares available. So whenever you trade more shares than are available out in the market, they call that float rotation. The stock is rotating its float. Meaning, you can watch a stock go up and maybe it goes from 3 to 4 and it's traded 10 million shares, and then, it starts to trade sideways a little bit, and it'll continue to go higher and it'll trade sideways for a little bit, and it can continue to go. We saw stocks go from 2 to 30, from 3 to 50. There's been no shortage of stocks that have ran incredible amounts, and people don't seem to understand, or at least new traders don't seem to understand, that it's not the same people in these stocks throughout the day. Every time a stock, trades up and consolidates for a little bit and trades up higher, you're building new, bases of shareholders and traders. It's honestly like a big game of hot potato, right? So there's only so many. I got a couple analogies. One is hot potato, because traders are literally just passing off the stock, to the next trader, hoping that they can, pass it off to someone higher. And that, works continually until you get to the last person and they get bagged, and then the momentum of the stock dies off, and the stocks typically come all the way back down to where they first started, because these companies and these stocks, they didn't do anything that warranted the stock to go up 500%. It's literally just traders playing a game of hot potato. The other analogy I got, imagine, like, a lot of people will say, think of a stock like a piece of pie, and you can cut it, into a million different slices or 10 different slices. This is the coronavirus epidemic. Imagine Target is the stock, right? And all they sell is toilet paper. Well, say there's like 1 million people outside, right? There's 1 million people outside and they've only got 10 rolls of toilet paper, and they're gonna let all the people outside dictate the price of that toilet paper. Guess what? Somebody's gonna have to shit sooner or later, and they're not gonna pay $3 for that roll of toilet paper, right? They might pay $5, $10. If they really gotta go, they might pay $100. So that is how you're able to, see these stocks that can go much, much higher than you ever could have imagined. Now, if there were 1 million rolls of toilet paper inside that Target, well, all of a sudden, guess what? They could just keep it at $3, and, supply and demand kind of works itself out. But when you have a limited amount of supply and a whole lot of demand, that's where you get these exponential increases in price. And this is why I talk about this, and why I think it's important, is 2020 has really changed the game, especially with social media. I go into it a little bit in the Green Wall Street day trading course, just how social media affects these stock prices. But there are now, it's not just one group. There are multiple, YouTube channels and Twitch channels and all these big influencers who, will live stream their trades to, say, 5,000 people, to 10,000 people, to 2,000. At any given point, there are 15 to 20,000, probably way more than that, There's a whole lot of people watching these YouTube live streams that are following the trades of these bigger traders, right? And imagine you had, 10,000 people watching a live stream, and the live stream they're watching is saying, okay, I'm buying this stock right here. Say everybody in that live stream, 10,000 people, they all bought 100 shares. What's the math on that? I was about to do it in my head, but it'd be better if I just did it on the calculator real quick. If those 10,000 people all bought 100 shares of stock, that's essentially 1 million shares that have now been gobbled up. And I think 10,000 is a low number in terms of how many people are watching these streams. So you got, 10, 15,000 people, and they're trading a stock that only has, 2 million, 3 million shares in the float. They literally own half the company together. So whenever you have all of those people buying up the stock, there's no supply anymore. It's only demand. So you're able to, get these moves like WIMI or EQ or GENE, where these stocks are just going incredible amounts every day. And, I talked about it a little bit in the last video, but I'm primarily a short seller when it comes to intraday trading. It's imperative that you understand float. And before you ever take a trade and try to short something, you need to know what the float count is and also how much volume it's trading. And if you see a stock that is trading 10, 20, 30 times its float in volume, easiest to just walk away and don't even try, especially if you're new. I mean, if you're more experienced and you've traded stocks for a number of years, then you'll understand the risks and you can still trade those types of names. But as a beginner, absolutely just stay away from that stuff because it's way too dangerous. Short selling, you can lose your entire account. And even though those stocks do 99% of the time come all the way back down, you just don't know if it's gonna go to 25 or 30 or 100 first before it starts to come back down. So float is the number one key in this market right now. Low float stocks are being pumped up every day and they're being broadcasted to tens of thousands of new traders who don't understand any of this stuff. And again, if they all only buy 100 shares or 200 shares of these $2 stocks, $3 stocks, in a few minutes, they've bought the entire company. Like, there is no shares left to trade, and that's when you get these really exponential price increases. So hopefully you guys understand it. It's very important, and it's very important in understanding, what stocks are better to go long on and what stocks are probably better to avoid whenever you're trying to short. So it really just goes back to basic economics. Limited supply, overwhelming demand due to, these live streams and social media in 2020 create some incredible stock price increases in a matter of minutes that otherwise would not be possible. So hopefully that makes sense. I know my analogies suck, but check out GreenWallSt.com. We go into much more in-depth practices about how to recognize these types of things and how to build strategies, taking all of these things into consideration so that you can be consistently profitable in 2020. Have a good rest of your Saturday. I will catch you all right back here next time. Peace out, everybody.